Standard 9, Social Science, History, Unit 2, Ancient Civilizations. Learning Objectives: 1. To learn about early societies and state formations. 2. To understand the development of civilizations. 3. To learn about the ancient Egyptian civilization. 4. To study the main features of the Mesopotamian civilizations. 5. To know the Chinese civilization. 6. To gain knowledge about the Indus civilization. Heading: Introduction. Urban societies that adopted complex ways of life were more organized than the early hunter-gatherer and Neolithic farming societies. Urban societies had social stratification and well-planned cities. They practiced crafts, engaged in trade and exchange, adopted science and technology and formed political organization, early form of state. Hence the term, civilization, is used to distinguish them from the early forms of societies. However, they should not be considered superior to other forms of societies, since each culture or civilization had its own unique features. Topic: Ancient civilizations. Civilization is seen as an advanced, organized way of life. It instilled a way of life that could be considered as an adaptation to particular environmental and cultural contexts. When it became necessary for large numbers of people to live in close proximity, they brought in planning, organization and specialization. Settlements were planned and laid out, a polity emerged, society became organized and food production and craft production were regulated. As civilizations began to take shape, huge buildings were built, the art of writing developed and science and technology contributed to the betterment of society. The Egyptian, the Mesopotamian, the Chinese and the Indus were the important early civilizations. While these civilizations flourished in certain regions, people in other parts of the world lived as hunters-gatherers and pastoralists. The hunters-gatherers and pastoralists maintained their relationships with these civilizations through interactions. Their history is also equally important. During the time of these civilizations, South India witnessed the emergence of Neolithic agro-pastoral communities and Microlithic form of life by hunter-gatherers. Topic: The Egyptian civilization. As one of the oldest civilizations, the Egyptian civilization is known for its monumental architecture, agriculture, arts, sciences and crafts at a very early age. Heading: Geography. Egypt lies in the northeastern corner of the African continent. It is bounded by the Red Sea on the east and Mediterranean Sea in the north. Egypt is irrigated by the river Nile, which originates in Lake Victoria in the south and flows into the Mediterranean Sea in the north. Deserts are seen on both sides of the Nile River. The Egyptian civilization depended solely upon the flow of Nile River, and hence Egypt was called the Gift of Nile by the Greek historian Herodotus. The Nile also served as a means of transport. The Nile Valley is very rich and fertile as the river deposits fresh alluvium every year. This alluvium nurtured agriculture and helped to produce surplus of food grains, leading to the development of Egyptian civilization. The dry regions on both the sides of the Niles, however, remained deserts. The Hyksos were the rulers of the 15th dynasty of Egypt and they were probably from West Asia. Persians are the people from the region of Persia, the ancient Iran. Greek refers to the language and people of modern-day state of Greece in Europe. Rome refers to the ancient Roman Empire, which had as its capital the city of Rome in Italy. Heading: Pharaohs, Society and Administration. The Egyptian king was known as the pharaoh. The people treated pharaoh as a divine form. Under the pharaoh, there was a hierarchy of officials including viziers, the governors of provinces, local mayors and tax collectors. The entire social system was supported by the work and production of artisans including stone cutters, masons, potters, carpenters, coppersmiths and goldsmiths, peasants and workers. Land belonged to the king and was assigned to the officials. Slavery was not common, but captives were used as slaves. Viziers were the high officials who administered territories under the direction of the pharaohs. The Egyptians believed in life after death. Therefore, they preserved the dead body. The art of preserving the dead body is known as mummification. Pyramids and tombs were built to preserve the body of pharaohs. The famous Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun, who ruled from 1332 to 1322 BC, BCE, tomb with a rich variety of offerings is located near Luxor in Egypt. The mask of his mummy made of gold and decorated with precious stones is an important artifact of the Egyptian civilization. There is a picture of the golden mask of Tutankhamun. There is a picture of the mummified body of Tutankhamun. Heading: Mummies of Egypt. The preserved dead body is called the mummy. The Egyptians had the tradition of preserving the dead bodies using natron salt, a combination of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. The preservation process is called mummification. After 40 days, when the salt absorbed all the moisture, the body was filled with sawdust and wrapped with strips of linen cloth and covered with a fabric. The body was stored in a stone coffin called sarcophagus. Heading: Agriculture and Trade. The Egyptians cultivated wheat, barley, millets, vegetables, fruits, papyrus and cotton. Papyrus was used for making rope mats, sandals and later for producing paper. They domesticated cattle, sheep, goat and pigs, and hunted wild animals. They had pets such as dogs, cats and monkeys. The Egyptians had trade relations with Lebanon, Crete, Phoenicia, Palestine and Syria. Gold, silver and ivory were imported, and they acquired the lapis lazuli, a precious stone of bluish color, from Afghanistan. Heading: Art and Architecture. The Egyptians excelled in art and architecture. Their writing is also a form of art. Numerous sculptures, painting and carvings attest to the artistic skills of the Egyptians. The pyramids are massive monuments built as tombs of mourning to the pharaohs. The Great Pyramids near Cairo are known as the Giza Pyramids. There is a picture of the cities of Egyptian civilization. There is a picture of a plowing farmer, 1200 BC, BCE. There is a picture of depiction of grain harvest. The Great Sphinx of Giza is a massive limestone image of a lion with a human head. It is dated to the time of Pharaoh Khafra, 2575 to 2465 BCE. It is one of the largest sculptures of the world and measures 73 meters in length and 20 meters in height. There is a picture of the Great Pyramid of Giza. There is a picture of view of the Sphinx with the Great Pyramid, Egypt. Heading: Religion. The Egyptians practiced polytheism. Amun, Re, Set, Thoth, Horus and Anubis are some of the gods of Egyptians. They worshipped many gods, but the sun god, Re, was the predominant one. Later on, the sun god was called Amun. Heading: Philosophy, Science and Literature. The Egyptian civilization excelled in science, literature, philosophy, astronomy, mathematics and the measurement system. Sundial, water clock and glass were developed by the Egyptians. They devised a solar calendar that consisted of 12 months of 30 days each, with 5 days added to the end of a year. This calendar was introduced as early as 4200 BCE. Literary works included treatises on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, magic and religion. The Egyptians also distinguished themselves in painting, art, sculpture, pottery, music and weaving. There is a picture of ancient Egyptian gods, Amun, Set, Thoth, statue of Horus and Anubis. Heading: Writing system. The Egyptians are well known for their writing system. Their form of writing is known as hieroglyphic. Hieroglyphic was used in the inscriptions on seals and other objects. The hieratic, and another form of writing, was used for common purposes. This form of writing used a pictogram-based system. It was developed around 3000 BCE, and many texts and books were written using this script. Now this inscription is on display in the British Museum, London. There is a picture of the hieroglyphic script. Heading: Characteristics and contributions of the Egyptian civilization. 1. The Egyptians developed a solar calendar system. 2. The pyramids and their designs show their mathematical and surveying skills. 3. Hieroglyphic writing system attests to their skills in handling symbols. 4. Preservation of human body in the form of mummies. 5. They applied innovation in the use of science and technology. Do you know, the word paper comes from papyrus. The Egyptians wrote on the leaves of a plant called papyrus, a kind of reed, which grew on the banks of Nile. Topic: The Mesopotamian civilizations. Mesopotamia refers to the region of Iraq and Kuwait in West Asia. Several kingdoms emerged around the city-states of this region from the early 3rd millennium BC, BCE. The Sumerian, Akkadian, Babylonian and Assyrian civilizations flourished in Mesopotamia. Heading: Geography. In the Greek language, Meso means in between, and Potamos means river. The Euphrates and Tigris flow here and drain into the Persian Gulf. Since this area is in between two rivers, it is known as Mesopotamia. The northern part of Mesopotamia is known as Assyria, and the southern part is called Babylonia. Heading: The Sumerians. The oldest civilization in Mesopotamia belonged to the Sumerians. The Sumerians were the contemporaries of the people of Indus and the Egyptian civilizations. These civilizations had trade connections. The Sumerians settled in the lower Tigris Valley around 5000 to 4000 BC, BCE. They were believed to have originated from Central Asia. They founded many cities and Nippur was one of the important cities. They developed the cuneiform writing system. During the early phase of the Sumerian civilization, kings acted as the chief priests. Their political domination came to an end by 2450 BC, BCE. Heading: The Akkadians. The Akkadians dominated Sumeria briefly from 2450 to 2250 BC, BCE. The Sargon of Akkad was a famous ruler. The Sargon and his descendants, ca.2334 to 2218 BC, BCE, ruled Mesopotamia for more than 100 years. In the cuneiform records of Akkadians, mention is made about the Indus civilization. The documents of the Sargon of Akkad, 2334 to 2279 BC, BCE, refer to the ships from Melaha, Magan and Dilmun in the Key of Akkad. Melaha is identified with Indus Valley. Do you know, the city of Akkad later became the city of Babylon, a commercial and cultural center of West Asia. There is a picture of the map of ancient lands of Magan, Dilmun and Melaha. Heading: The Babylonians. The Semitic people called Amorites from the Arabian desert moved into Mesopotamia. They were known as the Babylonians as they established a kingdom and made Babylon its capital. By the time of the king Hammurabi, they extended their domination to the western part of Mesopotamia. The powerful states of 2112 to 2004 BC, BCE, and Babylon, 1792 to 1712 BC, BCE, controlled this region. The hero Gilgamesh referred to in the first ever epic on the earth may have been a king of Sumeria. Hammurabi, the sixth king of Babylon belonging to the first Amorite dynasty, 1792 to 1750 BC, BCE, attained fame as a great lawmaker. Heading: The Assyrians. The Assyrian Empire was politically active in Mesopotamia around 1000 BC, BCE. The Assyrian kings were the priests of Ashur, the chief deity of Assyria. The Assyrian government was controlled by the emperor and provincial governors were appointed by the emperor to administer provinces. Assur was the capital city of Assyria. Ashurbanipal was a popular ruler of the late or Neo-Assyrian Empire, ca. 668 to 627 BC, BCE. He maintained a famous library of cuneiform records. The Assyrians worshipped the deity of Lamassu for protection. There is a picture of the map of Mesopotamia and its cities. There is a picture of a stone image of Lamassu. Heading: Society, State and Administration. The Sumerian civilization had many city-states. A typical Sumerian city was surrounded by cultivable lands. The fortified Sumerian cities had the temples called ziggurats at its center. The temple was controlled by the priests. Priests, scribes and nobles were part of the government. The rulers and priests occupied the top of the social hierarchy. The ruler performed the role of the chief priest. The scribes, merchants and artisans were placed next in the hierarchy. The scribes maintained the account of the taxes and the priests collected the taxes. The temples acted as storehouses of the taxed commodities. Assemblies were created for the administration of the state. Cultivable lands were owned by the kings and the higher classes of people in the hierarchy. The peasants who remained to the temples in the earlier phase of Mesopotamian civilization became free from that association in the later period. Not all people were allowed to live in the cities. There is picture of ziggurat of Wa. Do you know, the Assyrian Empire was the first military state in history. They emerged militarily powerful because they were the earliest to use iron technology effectively. Heading: Food and Agriculture. Agriculture was the main occupation of the Mesopotamians. They had developed irrigation systems for ensuring the availability of water for agriculture and cultivated wheat, barley, onions, turnips, grapes, apples and dates. They domesticated cattle, sheep and goats. Fish was part of their diet. Heading: Trade and Exchange. Trade was an important economic activity of the Mesopotamian society. Traders assisted in the exchange of goods procured from the potters and artisans. They traded with Syria and Asia Minor in the west, and in Iran and the Indus Valley civilization in the east. They traveled in ships across the seas for trade. Their temples acted as banks and lent credit on their own account. The Mesopotamian documents have references to loan and repayment, with or without interest. Perhaps this is the first written evidence of charging an interest on borrowed money. Heading: Cities and Town Planning. The Mesopotamian cities featured mud or baked brick walls with gates. Some people lived in reed huts outside the cities. The ziggurats were at the city center on a platform and appeared like steep pyramids, with staircases leading to the top. Around this temple were complexes of ceremonial courtyards, shrines, burial chambers for the priests and priestesses, ceremonial banquet halls, along with workshops, granaries, storehouses and administrative buildings. Heading: Religion. The Sumerian religion was polytheistic. They worshipped several gods and goddesses. The Sumerians prayed to Enlil, the god of sky and wind. The city of Nippur was center of Enlil's worship. Ninlil was the Sumerian goddess of grain. The Babylonians worshipped Marduk, and Ashur was the supreme god of the Assyrians. Ishtar was goddess of love and fertility, Tiamat the god of the sea and chaos, and Sin, the moon god. The kings were seen as representatives of the gods on earth. The Mesopotamians developed a rich collection of myths and legends. The most famous of these is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is written in the cuneiform text. It contains a legend of the flood and has similarities with the account of Noah's Ark mentioned in the Bible and other myths in the Hindu Puranas. Heading: The Hammurabi's Law Code. The Hammurabi Code is an important legal document that specifies the laws related to various crimes. It has 282 provisions specifying cases related to family rights, trade, slavery, taxes and wages. It is carved on a stone, which portrays Hammurabi as receiving the code from the sun god Shamash. It was a compilation of old laws based on retributive principles. An eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth, form of justice is used in the Hammurabi Code. There is a picture of cuneiform tablet. Heading: Cuneiform, the Sumerian writing system. Cuneiform is the Sumerian writing system. The shape of the letter is in the form of wedge and hence it is called cuneiform. Evolving around 3000 BCE, it is one of the earliest scripts of the world. They used this script for commercial transactions and writing letters and stories. The clay tablets contain loads of information on the Sumerian civilization. Heading: Art. The Mesopotamian art included sculptures in stone and clay. A few paintings and sculptures from the Mesopotamian times have survived today. Mesopotamian sculptures portray animals, such as goats, rams, bulls and lions. Some mythological figures like lions and bulls with human head have also been found in their art. Massive sculptures were created at the time of the Assyrian and the Babylonian Empire. There is a picture of a clay tablet with the accounts of sheep and goats from Teo, southern Iraq. Heading: Development of Script. Development of script is an important milestone in human history. Writing system began to emerge in Sumeria in the later part of 4th millennium BCE. Hieroglyphic, the Egyptian system of writing, developed in early 3rd millennium BCE. The Harappans also had a system of writing around the same time, but it has not yet been deciphered. The Chinese civilization too developed a writing system from a very early period. There is a picture of development of cuneiform script. Heading: Science. The Mesopotamians excelled in mathematics, astronomy and medicine. They developed the concepts of multiplication, division and cubic equation. The numerical system based on 60 was conceived by them. They were the ones to formulate the 60-minute hour, the 24-hour day and the 360 degrees circle. The Sumerian calendar had 7 days in a week. Their numerical system had place values. They created the water clock and the lunar calendar based on the movement of the moon. They developed methods for measuring areas and solids. They also developed advanced weight and measurement systems. They introduced the 12-month calendar system based on lunar months. Their ideas influenced Greek astronomy. They had developed a medicinal system as well. A text called the Diagnostic Handbook, dated to the 11th century BCE, Babylon, lists symptoms and prognoses. This indicates their scientific understanding of herbs and minerals. Heading: Contributions of the Mesopotamian Civilization. 1. The invention of the potter's wheel is credited to the Sumerians. 2. They developed the calendar system of 360 days and divided a circle into 360 units. 3. The cuneiform system of writing was their contribution. 4. The Hammurabi's law code was another legacy of the Mesopotamians. Topic: The Chinese civilization. China has two major rivers. One is known as Huanghe, Yellow River, and the other is called Yangtze River. The Yellow River is known as the Sorrow of China, since it changed its course and caused frequent floods, evidence for the prehistoric Peking man, 700,000 BP and 200,000 BP, and Yuanmao man exists in China. Neolithic communities lived in China between 4,500 and 3,750 BCE. The Henan province in the Yellow and Yangtze River Valley contain evidence for Neolithic villages. China had many city-states and gradually these states became part of an empire. Heading: Polity and Emperors. Shi Huangdi, Qin Shi Huang, which means the first emperor, founded the Qin dynasty. The emperor had the title, Son of Heaven. He is considered to be the first emperor of China. The period between 221 and 206 BCE, is known as the Imperial Era in China. He conquered other principalities in 221 BCE, and remained the emperor till 212 BCE. He defeated the feudal lords and established a strong empire. He is credited with unifying China. Shi Huangdi destroyed the walled fortifications of different states and constructed the Great Wall of China to protect the empire from the invading nomadic people. He also built roads to integrate the empire. Heading: The Han Empire, 206 to 220 AD/CE. During this period, a written history of this empire was made available in China. The greatest of the Ha emperors, Wu Ti, Ha Wu the Great, 141 to 87 BCE, expanded the empire and built many public amenities, including irrigation tanks. He sent Zhang Qian as emissary to the west in 138 BCE, and thereby paved the way for the opening of the Silk Road in 130 BCE, to encourage trade activities. Because of the Silk Road and the resultant trade connections, China benefited immensely during the rule of Emperor Zhang, 75 to 88 AD/CE. Chinese silk was much sought after by the Romans during the time of the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius in 166 AD/CE. Some of the Chinese silk might have reached Rome through the ports of Tamilnadu. Heading: The Terracotta Army. The Terracotta Army refers to the large collection of terracotta warrior images found in China. They depict the armies of the king Qin Shi Huang, the first emperor of China. They were buried with the king in 210 to 209 BCE. They are found at the northern foot of the Lishan mountain, 35 kilometers northeast of Xi'an, Shaanxi province, as part of the mausoleum of the king. There is a picture of terracotta warriors, China. There is a picture of the map of Chinese civilization, which shows the area of Shang dynasty 1300 BC, Zhou dynasty 600 BC and present-day China. Heading: Philosophy and Literature. Chinese poets and philosophers such as Lao Tzu, Confucius, Mencius, Mo Ti, Mo Tzu, and Tao Chen, 365 to 427 AD/CE, contributed to the development of Chinese civilization. Sun Tzu, a military strategist, wrote the work called Art of War. The Spring and Autumn Annals is the official chronicle of the state at the time. The Yellow Emperor's Canon of Medicine is considered China's earliest written book on medicine. It was codified during the time of Ha Dynasty, Lavtas, c. 604 to 521 BCE, was the master archive keeper of Chu state. He was the founder of Taoism. He argued that desire is the root cause of all evils. Confucius, 551 to 497 BCE, was famous among the Chinese philosophers. He was a political reformer. His name means Kung, the master. He insisted on cultivation of one's own personal life. He said, if personal life is cultivated, family life is regulated, and once family life is regulated, national life is regulated. Mencius, 372 to 289 BCE, was another well-known Chinese philosopher. He traveled throughout China and offered his counsel to the rulers. Heading: Chinese script. Chinese developed a writing system from an early time. Initially it was a pictographic system and later it was converted into a symbol form. Heading: Contribution of the Chinese civilization. 1. Writing system was improved. 2. Invention of paper. 3. Opening of the Silk Road. 4. Invention of gunpowder. Topic: Indus Civilization. The Indus Civilization, also known as the Harappan Civilization, covers an area of over 1.5 million square kilometers in India and Pakistan. Sutkagan Dor in the west on the Pakistan-Iran border, Shotugai, Afghanistan, in the north Alamgirpur, Uttar Pradesh in India, in the east and Damabad, Maharashtra in India, in the south are the boundaries within which the Harappan culture has been found. Its main concentration was in the regions of Gujarat, Pakistan, Rajasthan and Haryana. Heading: Planned towns. There is a picture of the Great Bath. Harappa, Punjab, Pakistan; Mohenjo-daro, Sindh, Pakistan; Dholavira, Gujarat, India; Kalibangan, Rajasthan, India; Lothal, Gujarat, India; Banwali, Rajasthan, India; Rakhigarhi, Haryana, India; and Surkotada, Gujarat, India, are the major cities of the Indus civilization. Fortification, well-planned streets and lanes and drainages can be observed in the Harappan towns. The Harappans used baked and unbaked bricks and stones for construction. A civic authority perhaps controlled the planning of the towns. A few of the houses had more than one floor. The tank called the Great Bath at Mohenjo-daro was an important structure, well paved with several adjacent rooms. Some unearthed structures have been identified as the granary. We do not know about the nature of the state or political organization of the Harappans, but they must have had a political organization at the level of an early form of state. A male image from Mohenjo-daro has been identified as priest king, but we do not know about the accuracy of this interpretation. Do you know, the Indus Valley Civilization is also known as the Harappan Civilization, since Harappa was the first site to be discovered. This civilization is known as Harappan Civilization rather than Indus Valley Civilization, since it extended beyond the Indus River Valley. Heading: Agriculture and Animal Domestication. The Harappans practiced agriculture. They cultivated wheat, barley and various types of millets. They adopted a double cropping system. Pastoralism was also known to them. They reared cattle, sheep and goats. They had knowledge of various animals including elephants but did not use horses. The Harappan cattle are called zebu, and it is a large breed, often represented in their seals. There is a picture of Confucius. There is a picture of Chinese script on the bone. Heading: Pottery. The Harappans used painted pottery. Their potteries have a deep red slip and black paintings. The pottery has shapes like dish on stands, storage jars, perforated jars, goblets, S-shaped jars, plates, dishes, bowls and pots. The painted motifs, generally noticed on the pottery, depict peepal tree leaves, fish scale designs, intersecting circles, zigzag lines, horizontal bands, and geometrical motifs, and floral and faunal patterns. There is picture of Harappan painted pottery. There is a picture showing the map of Indus cities and towns. Heading: Metal tools and weapons. The Harappans used chert blades, copper objects and bone and ivory tools. They did not possess knowledge about iron. The tools and equipment such as points, chisels, needles, fish hooks, razors, weighing pans, mirror and antimony rods were made of bronze. The chisels made out of Rohde chert were used by the Harappans. Their weapons included arrows, spears, a chisel-bladed tool and axe. The bronze image of dancing girl from Mohenjo-daro is suggestive of the use of lost wax process. Rohde chert refers to the chert raw material collected from Rohde in Pakistan. It was used by the Harappans for making blades. The Harappans used both stone and bronze tools. There is a picture of Rohde chert blades, Shikarpur, Gujarat. Heading: Textiles and Ornaments. The Harappans used metal and stone ornaments. They had knowledge of cotton and silk textiles. They made carnelian, copper and gold ornaments. Faience, stoneware and shell bangles were also used. Some of them had etched designs, and the Harappans exported them to the Mesopotamia. Heading: Trade and Exchange. The Harappans had close trade links with the Mesopotamians. Harappan seals have been found in the West Asian sites, namely Oman, Bahrain, Iraq and Iran. The cuneiform inscriptions mention the trade contacts between Mesopotamia and the Harappans. The mention of Melaha in the cuneiform inscriptions is considered to refer to the Indus region. Heading: Weights and Measures. The Harappans developed a system of proper weights and measures. Since they engaged in commercial transactions, they needed standard measures. The cubical chert weights are found at the Harappan sites. The copper plates for weighing balances have also been found. The weights point to their knowledge of the binary system. The ratio of weighing is doubled as 1:2:4:8:16:32. There is a picture of weights of Harappan civilization. There is a picture of copper balance from Mohenjo-daro. Heading: Seals, Sealings and Scripts. The seals from various media such as steatite, copper, terracotta and ivory are found in the Harappan sites. They were probably used in the trade activities. The Harappan script is not yet deciphered. About 5,000 texts have been documented from the Harappan sites. Some scholars are of the view that the script is in Dravidian language. There is a picture of a seal with the script. There is a picture of Indus ornaments. There is a picture of terracotta toys. Heading: Arts and Amusement. The terracotta figurines, paintings on the pottery and the bronze images from the Harappan sites suggest the artistic skills of the Harappans. Priest king, made of steatite and dancing girl made of bronze, both from Mohenjo-daro, as well as stone sculptures from Harappa, Mohenjo-daro and Dholaviara are the important objects of art. Toy carts, rattles, wheels, tops, marbles and hopscotches made in terracotta suggest the amusement of the Harappan people. There is a picture of the dancing girl from Mohenjo-daro. There is a picture of the priest king, Mohenjo-daro. Heading: Religion. The Indus people had a close relationship with nature. They worshipped peepal trees. Some of the terracotta figures resemble the mother goddess. Fire altars have been identified at Kalibangan. The Indus people buried the dead. Burials were done elaborately and evidence for cremation has also been found. Heading: Original inhabitants and their culture. The authors of the Harappan civilization are not known, since the script has not been deciphered. One school of thought argues that they spoke the Dravidian language. The archaeological evidence shows movement of the Harappans to the east and south after the decline of the Indus civilization. It is probable that some of the Harappan people moved into different parts of India. Only the decipherment of the script can give a definite answer. Indus civilization had more than one group of people. Several groups including farmers, pastoralists and hunter-gatherers lived in the Indus region. The Indus region had villages and large towns. The population was mixed. The period of the civilization has been divided into early Harappan, starting around 3300 BC, BCE, and continuing to 2600 BC, BCE, and mature Harappan, are the last phase civilization from 2600 to 1900 BC, BCE. The later Harappan existed up to 1700 BC, BCE. Heading: Decline of Indus culture. The Indus civilization and its urban features started declining from about 1900 BC, BCE, changes in climate, decline of the trade with Mesopotamia and drying up or flooding of the river Indus, foreign invasion were some of the reasons attributed to the collapse of this civilization and for the migration of people in the southern and eastern directions. It did not completely disappear. It continued as rural culture. Topic: Indus script, a case study. Heading: Cracking the Indus script. Harappans knew the art of writing. The script is found on seals, in molded terracotta and on pottery. It has not been deciphered till now. Because the Indus texts are very short, the average length of the inscription is less than 5 signs. It has no bilingual text, like a Rosetta Stone written in Egyptian and Greek, hence deciphering the script is difficult. It was written generally from right to left. 1. Based on computer analysis, the Russian scholar Yuri Norozov suggested that the Indus inscriptions have a Dravidian-like word order. 2. Scholar and researcher Iravatam Mahadevan, who has done extensive research on Indus civilization, says, we may hopefully find that the Proto-Dravidian roots of Harappa language and South Indian Dravidian languages are similar. 3. According to Mahadevan, a stone self-discovered in Mailaduthurai, Tamil Nadu, has same marking as that of the symbol of the Indus script. 4. In May 2007, the Tamil Nadu Archaeology Department found pots with arrowhead symbols at Melaperumpallam near Pumbugar, which resembled the seals in Mohenjo-daro. According to Parpala, the sign of the Indus script is likely to represent Dravidian monosyllabic roots. Heading: Recap. 1. After the Neolithic Age, civilization sprang and grew in the Bronze Age. 2. People began their settled life in planned towns and began to involve in trade and exchange. Science and technology developed. 3. The civilizations are relatively complex social systems. 4. The Egyptian civilization excelled in architecture and the pyramids were its important contribution. 5. The Mesopotamian civilization contributed to the development of calendar system and astronomy. 6. The Chinese civilization contributed in terms of philosophy and inventions. 7. The Indus civilization produced a variety of commodities using innovative techniques. It had cultural contacts with West Asia. Now, we have come to the end of Unit 2. Thank you.